And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 882. Today is Fuck Bitcoin Fridays, January 2022, and I'm King.
And I'm Bitcoin Zay, and we are here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community Monday through Friday at 10-ish.
At 10-ish. And look, I actually just got the notification. No excuses today, folks. I know you're getting these quick notifications today. We're only going to be covering a couple stories because, as you know, we have a very special guest on today. So really quick, before we jump into the top stories of the day, Apple stock jumps after the CEO reveals it's investing in the metaverse, and the Belgium MP becomes first European politician to accept salary in Bitcoin. But first and foremost, Bitcoin Zay, what's going on with those prices?
Oh, yeah. So taking a look at our prices for today, Bitcoin sitting at $36,810, down 0.2%. Ethereum sitting at $2,395, down 3.8% today. Binance Coin at $380, up 1.2%. Cardano sitting just a touch above $1, is down 3.8%. XRP at 59 cents, down 2.65%. Solana at 89.26, down 4.78%. Terra Luna really shit the bed, down 19% today, and Dogecoin at 13 cents, down 3.4% as well. So, and our biggest gainers for today, some of the most premium shit coins you could ever hear about: Crypto Rocket Launch Plus. What the fuck is that? And Silver Token and Godzilla Launchpad. I mean, good gracious, just the pump and dumps don't stop. But yes, those are our biggest gainers. And again, most of the coins that are making these gains are obscure and getting pumped and dumped by whoever is part of the project.
Folks, I'm telling you today, we don't get like an 85-90% light ratio going on today. We press an end on it. Everybody's going about their Friday business. All right, we got a special guest here, a great show. So make sure you smash those likes as you join in. And really quick, we're going to get some shout outs. Going on Parker and Cario. Yes, you know someone brought the smoke today. Carson, Young Ears. Young Ears said going to be a good one today. Lawrence Sanders, Zerk Cena. Good morning. First time I seen that name. You, Remy, Big Jeezy, 64 ECG, Donnie Rowe, Robert Marino, Cedric Lemoyne, Takis, Eric Stein. Good morning, everybody who's joining the chat right now. Let's go ahead and jump to these top stories of the day so we can get after it. Of course, you know we got to talk about this, though. Top story, Apple stock is in the news. That's right. Apple stock jumps after CEO reveals it's investing in the metaverse. Will 2022 be the metaverse? Is that, I mean, literally, we just went from, was it 2019, 2020, started the NFT trend. That continued on in 2021. Then we had DeFi coming in 2020 as well. It looks like metaverse may be all of 2022, as Tim Cook said, an investor, investors call that metaverse applications have a lot of potential and that his company is investing in AR developments on its devices. Apple stock price jumped in after hours trading after CEO Tim Cook said during the company's Q1 2022 earnings call that he sees considerable potential in the metaverse space. Bitcoin Zay, what's going on with Tim Cook and the jump to the metaverse?
Oh, yeah. Well, this seems inevitable, but you are a fool if you think Tim Cook is just now exploring the metaverse. Whenever these announcements come out, that means he's had a private research team searching metaverse for the last year, and now he's ready to talk about it because they got some good stuff. So I think the metaverse will impact every company. They will have some sort of footprint in different metaverses. Which one, we don't know. Will it be centralized, decentralized? Who knows? But the experience is better with virtual reality or augmented reality, which is I think what they're trying to bring. And anything Apple brings outside of the phone and some of the products that they have, just like the metaverse, that's going to make the stock jump. So shout out to Tim Cook. He's a good marketer, but I do believe, if I had to guess, he's had a good amount of time to research. He's got some good research, and I think he has some good stuff.
Oh man, I hope you don't get the robotic thing today. You started going in and out a little bit. D Noy, first time in the chat. What's going on? Good morning. I was like, I hope the robot don't take over there. And secondly, really quick, gotta also talk about this. Huge news coming out of Eastern Europe or European Union, excuse me. The Belgian MP becomes the first European politician to accept salary in Bitcoin. That is right. The Belgian MP will convert his monthly salary of 5,500 euros to Bitcoin using the country's popular cryptocurrency trading platform Bit4U. So again, that's the Brussels MP monthly salary. He's being converted to Bitcoin as it's being reported by Bruz. His name is Bukalier, who represents the Humanist Democratic Center Party, hopes his move would inspire other politicians in the region to show a similar interest in the nascent tech. He actually cited the New York City Mayor Eric Adams and how American politicians are working to make their native state or city a Bitcoin hub. He said New York City Mayor Eric Adams has spent 3 months collecting his Bitcoin salary to make New York the Bitcoin hub. I can't believe he actually said that. New York is not the Bitcoin hub at all, but I get where he's going with it. I think it is not too late for Brussels and Belgium to play a leading role in the cryptocurrency industry. And of course, this article also references Miami Mayor Francis Suarez and Bitcoin. That you're working with Miami Mayor Suarez down there on the Miami coin. You got New York coin. It looks like Belgium is now jumping into the mix as well. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody's going to capitulate. And him, this MP accepting his salary in Bitcoin, it's just another person in the long leaders who are starting to accept their salary in Bitcoin, as well as different NBA, NFL stars. And of course, when politicians do it, everybody that they are over or that they're involved with in their city, they're at least going to take a look and say, "Hey, what's so good about this? Should I do the same? Should I do the same?" And I think we will see this more and more throughout the year, and it's crazy. We keep getting bullish news like this while the price is going down. So it seems like a lot of people are starting to accept their salary or going to start to accept their salary. And from a trader standpoint, might actually be a good time to do it, because if we get a bounce here in price, he'll look like a genius. So shout out to him for doing that. And I think more mayors, governors, MPs all around the world will do the same thing.
There it is. Actually, it's true. He will look like a genius if it does work out as well. Let's see. Other than that, again, those are the top two main stories. We want to stall you guys out. We want to hold you up. I want to introduce a very special guest for those who saw the Dr. Phil show this week. I actually haven't seen it myself yet. I need to check it out. I've only seen the clips, but we saw the Dr. Phil show. Myself and another panelist there went toe-to-toe about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. We actually have him here today, so let me introduce him. His name is Jeffery Robinson, and he is the international best-selling author. I don't know why I put an F in author. I don't know what's going on today. I'm going to start over. Jeffery Robinson is an international best-selling author of more than 30 books and a recognized expert on money laundering and financial crime, described by the British Bankers Association as, quote, the world's most important financial crime author. He has also been called one of the deans of reporting on financial crime. He's best known for his seminal work, The Laundryman, which was published nearly 30 years ago. It was Jeffery who introduced the general public to the subject of money laundering. He followed The Laundryman with The Merger, in which he describes a conglomeration of international organized crime, The Sink, his expose of the offshore world of dirty money, and The Takedown, a riveting tale of the demise of Colombia's Norte Ballet cartel. He was also the first to expose what he refers to as, quote, the scam of Bitcoin. That is right, folks. And his ebook, published in cooperation with Amazon, Bitcon, The Naked Truth About Bitcoin. And he is currently at work on a major television drama about money laundering and an updated version of his original international bestseller to be called The New Laundryman. And last but not least, I also got to give him a hand clap and say thank you for your service, because Jeffery was also an officer in the United States Air Force. So remember that before you go crazy in the comment section, people. Thank you. Other than that, Jeffery, welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And again, thanks for being here on the Fuck Bitcoin Friday. A lot of people would dodge these fades, but Jeffery said, you know what? I'm here and I'm about to show out. Give him a round.
I told you. Thank you. I would be here even if it was 7 o'clock in snowy New York and 10 o'clock in LA. I would be here for you.
You said it.
Let me just say one thing, that you and I both had that military experience. And I believe me, I respect you enormously for it. There's only one thing. That I was in the Air Force and you were in the Navy, and your runways moved.
Right.
Yeah, your runways move. There's something wrong about a runway that's doing that. See, our runways were flat and long, and you could land a plane on it. It's a whole different thing.
So just to start the conversation, so what you're telling me is that one thing we all can agree on is that Navy pilots must be better than Air Force pilots. Is that what you're saying right now?
Let me tell you something. I flew once with a Marine pilot, and we were in a T-33, which is the old F-80 trainer. And he landed that thing. I think it needed, 1,500 feet of runway. But he was used to landing on those funny runways that do this in the middle of the night. You can't see. And he had the canopy up at 1,000 feet. It was the most gorgeous landing I've ever seen. That was a Marine pilot, and he would tell you that the Marine pilots are best. But I was a Navy brat, as you know.
There we go.
I have a lot of time for the Navy, and I couldn't get into. My father came down when I was in college. He came down, and we went to visit the Navy recruiter, and he had stayed in the reserve, so he was in his uniform. And we went to see the Navy recruiter, and the recruiter, a young JG, said, "I can't accept your son, sir, because we want pilots," and he wears glasses. And that was the only thing that kept me out of the Navy. So
there it is. So really quick, we already thank you for the tip, 52crypto.com. And this, what he mentioned in the tip sounds like it's going to get us started. So good morning, Warriors, LFG Coin, the best show. Like, share, and subscribe. Thoughts on Stacks NFTs as a whole. We will be talking more about Stacks. People get that Bitcoin, Addy. And then here's the last thing. What a show with old man yelling at the moon on field. All right, let's get started. Here it is. Let's get started. Jeffrey.
Old white guy, yeah.
To start the show, Jeffrey, you got to tell us, Bitcon. Why did you write the book? Why are your thoughts so pessimistic on Bitcoin? I have some of your thoughts, but tell our audience why they're all wrong.
Sure. I mean, I had been writing about financial crime for a long time, and you develop a nose for scams and frauds and things. And I was very open. When Amazon and I talked about this, I hadn't yet settled on the title Bitcon. And I started going to these meetings, I don't know, they were like holy roller meetings with people discussing Bitcoin. I mean, it was a church revivalist thing. And speakers would get up and say these phenomenal things, and all these young kids would say, oh, Bitcoin's going to replace the dollar. You'll see, and it's going to be $1 million a coin. And I wasn't hearing any real facts. And a guy got up and he said, thank God for Bitcoin. This is about 2012. He said, thank God for Bitcoin. He said, I have a friend who is a scout leader in Uganda. And he had been out with his patrol, his scout kids, the Boy Scouts. He had been out on a hike with the Boy Scouts, and they crossed over into another country. And I guess they were in the mountains of Uganda, which are in the eastern part of the country. So they crossed over into Kenya. And a Kenyan border patrol came up and arrested these kids for being illegal in Kenya. And he said, but, it's a mistake. We're only Boy Scouts. We're not spies. We're trying to get back to Uganda. And they said, well, we're going to arrest you, or you can pick a figure. I forget what it was, the $3,000 fine, or the equivalent of $3,000. They said, well, we don't have any money. This is crazy. So the speaker said what he did was he phoned me from the mountains of Uganda or Kenya, and he said, I need $3,000. And he said, I sent him the Bitcoin equivalent, and I forget what the price was in 2012 or 2011. He said, I sent him the Bitcoin equivalent. They paid the blackmail or to the guards, the Kenyan guards, in Bitcoin, and thank God for Bitcoin, we saved all our scouts. That's a bullshit story. That never happened. I mean, you're telling me there's Wi-Fi in the mountains of Uganda? You probably have trouble finding Wi-Fi in Kampala, and he's up in the mountains, and it just happens to have the guards will accept Bitcoin. Anyway, I go up to him afterwards, and I said, you're full of shit, pal. That's a bullshit story. He said, yeah, but it's a good one. Well, that's what I kept hearing about Bitcoin. And everything I heard and everything I saw turned out to be just not quite true. It was like close, but no cigar. There was a story that ran while I was writing the book that somebody had bought a Tesla with Bitcoin from a California car dealer out in Newport Beach. And it ran in all the newspapers. It was everywhere. Man buys Tesla with Bitcoin. Huge story. Well, being a trained journalist, I did what you're supposed to do. I picked up the phone and I called the car dealer. And I said, what did you do with the Bitcoins? And he said, what Bitcoins? I said, I just read a story that you sold a Tesla for Bitcoins. He says, it's not true. We don't sell cars for Bitcoins. We don't sell our Lamborghinis for lira. We sell cars for dollars. I said, well, why is this story? He said, the guy called us and said, would we accept Bitcoin? And we said, no. So the guy calls Coinbase and says, I want to buy a car for Bitcoin. And Coinbase calls the dealer and says, we will convert it to dollars for you for a fee. And the guy says, I'm not interested in paying the fee. Ridiculous. He wants to pay the fee. That's fine. We want dollars. So he paid Bitcoin. He paid Coinbase in Bitcoin for 130,000 plus whatever the fees were. and they sent the car dealer the 130,000.
So you're saying Bitcoin works. So you're saying Bitcoin works. That's what you just said. You just said it worked.
No, it didn't work. He didn't buy that car for Bitcoin. He bought it for dollars.
Well, technically, Coinbase bought the car for Bitcoin and gave him money.
Any more than if you're British and you buy an apartment in Miami, you're not buying it with pounds. You're buying it with dollars. You're converting your pounds to dollars. So,
all right, Jeffrey.
But that's not the first story. You know the story of the pizza, the original pizza story,
right? Oh, tell us your thoughts about this story. Zay, I'm sure Zay has some comments.
You tell me the story. You tell me the story.
Well, from what I understood, the original, the guy bought 2 pieces with what, 10,000 Bitcoin or something, right?
Wrong.
What happened, Jeffrey?
He called the pizzeria and said, "I want to buy 2 pizzas. How much will it cost in Bitcoin?" They said, never heard of Bitcoin, not interested in Bitcoin. So what he did was he called a friend of his in England. I think he was in Atlanta. I think that's where it took place. He calls a friend of his in England and says, "Do me a favor, with your Visa credit card, order 2 pizzas from this pizzeria to be delivered, and I will pay you back in Bitcoin." So again, what you hear and what you see about Bitcoin isn't quite true. It's always some sort of a variation on the truth.
Jeffrey, when you talk about purchases, you do realize that Bitcoin as a settlement network doesn't need to even make purchases at a store to be considered money. Gold has a $11 trillion market cap, and nobody's shaving off pieces of gold to pay for anything. So as money, it's still considered money, even if you can't pay for goods at a store. Now,
Isaiah, you're too smart to think that gold is money. We're off the gold standard. I don't know if paper, but we dumped the gold standard.
But it still has but it still has an $11 trillion market cap. I agree, gold is not good money for today. But it still has 11 times. Oh, it still has 11 times the market cap of Bitcoin, and it's worse than Bitcoin. So even if you can't spend it as a settlement,
why is gold worse than Bitcoin?
Well, for one, you can't carry around $1 million worth of gold.
You don't have to.
So portability is low.
You don't have to. That's not what gold is for. No. It's not a currency.
No. But the characteristics of good money, portability is part of that. The visibility is a part of that.
Gold's not money.
No. Let me finish. Limited supply is a part of that. How much gold is there in the world? Nobody actually knows. We have provably scarce Bitcoin.
There's no comparison between
characteristics
Bitcoin and
of money.
Bitcoin is not digital gold. It's a completely false comparison. Bitcoin is not a hedge.
I didn't say that.
You can't compare.
I didn't say that either.
Why not compare?
No. The reason I brought
all right, hold on, Jeffrey. Let Zay get it out. Let him get
Jeffrey. Let me get 2 sentences out in a row. All right. So when you talked about Bitcoin not being able to be spent with the various examples you gave, 2 things. First, Bitcoin is a settlement network. Even if you couldn't spend it at a store, the settlement network of Bitcoin has more transactions than Visa, so it works.
No, it doesn't. That's false. That's an absolute false comparison.
Jeffrey, you gotta let him finish. Let him finish, Jeffrey. We'll let you.
No, you gotta speak the truth, man. You can't tell me.
Well,
prove it, Jeffrey.
Well, prove it. Prove it after I finish. Second thing is, Bitcoin being spent is not just an American thing. Around the world in Nigeria, around the world in different countries, they're using Bitcoin for transactions directly. With
Lightning in Nigeria, they're using M-Pesa.
With Lightning Network, with Lira. No, my friends use Lightning Network with Lira, with other types of currencies. In other countries, they use Bitcoin for payment system. I mean, in El Salvador, it is legal tender. So
El Salvador is going bankrupt because of Bitcoin.
Obviously, it's when it's accepted as currency again.
It's not being accepted.
Yes, it is. Your point is that nobody's actually spending Bitcoin, because you just gave 3 examples where nobody's actually spending it. I'm just showing you that even if nobody.
All right, let's look at the transactions.
One at a time, Jeffrey. We got to do one at a time so folks can hear both of you.
Okay, if you look at the stated transactions of people actually buying goods and services with Bitcoin, it's less than 1% of all the transactions. So it's minuscule. You cannot walk into Whole Foods and pay with Bitcoin.
But wait, Jeffrey, I will say
it doesn't matter. That's the point
of
sale. It does, because you're pretending it's a currency.
Listen, Jeffrey.
No, wait, listen to me. Hold on.
No, listen to me.
It's a currency.
Because at this point you're talking about purchases. I just told you, even if Bitcoin couldn't make face-to-face purchases like you just said, as a settlement network, it still has cleared more transactions than Visa last year. 13.1 billion versus 13
not
billion.
True.
Okay.
That's simply not true. Now I'm going to give you.
Jeffrey, let me ask you something, Jeffrey. Tell the audience why, and in one sentence, why you don't like Bitcoin. Like why is Bitcoin a scam? Why is it a con?
Because it doesn't do anything, because it's a solution in search of a problem. You've had 14 years to prove it does something, and you still haven't figured out what it does. Let me ask, and I want to know, because I saw an interview that Isaiah did with this young kid from Malawi, and it was a really good interview, and you made some great points. And I'm reading your book, and I respect you enormously. I respect both of you, and I'll explain why later, for a very specific reason. But here's the situation that I found when I was writing Bitcoin. A young Somalian immigrant was living in New Jersey, still living in New Jersey. She's working as a maid, living in this small Somalian community in northern New Jersey. And she wanted to send $25 a month home to her parents, who live in a village 100 miles outside of Mogadishu. So she went to the obvious place, Western Union, and she said, how do I do this? Can I send $25 a month? And they said, oh yeah, we can do that very simply. You go to the Western Union, you hand them $25, we'll give you a tracking number. And if we don't have an agent in your mother's village, we've got one in the village next door, and they will convert your $25 to Somalian shillings, and they will knock on the door and say, hi, Rita and Herb, here's the $25. Now, for that, we're going to charge you $5, the minimum. She said, wait a minute, that's 20%. That's crazy. Well, they said, if it was $2,500, it would still be $5. They said, no, I can't afford to pay 20%. So somebody said to her, why don't you just do it in Bitcoin? So Isaiah and King, explain to me how she can do it in Bitcoin.
Say it one more time. You said she was trying to get what?
$25 a month
Somalia?
for her parents who live in a village 100 miles outside of Mogadishu.
Do they have phones? Don't they have phones in Mogadishu?
Do they have phones?
Mogadishu they might, but in her village they don't. So how does she do it with Bitcoin?
But really quick before Zay jumps, Jeffrey, what I think the disconnect is, just because everyone aren't using it and it's not accepted everywhere, it doesn't mean the technology doesn't work. So it's almost like, to me, it's like what you're saying is, just let me finish. It's almost like you're saying, well, no one uses calculators in this country. So does a calculator, what's the point of having a calculator? It doesn't work. People don't use it. And it's like, but the people who do use calculators do have an advantage of doing arithmetic and mathematics.
Okay, but in other words, there's no way for her to use Bitcoin.
But my point is, if it's
no, can she? No, question.
I don't know. I don't know that specific example. That's why the first question was.
Okay,
let's address one thing.
I'm gonna tell you about.
Okay, all right,
let's go. Hold on, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. All right, let me address this really quick. First things first. I don't just throw out stuff. So here's Bitcoin's annual transaction volume higher than Visa, right here to the right. I'll put the link in the chat. You can check it out yourself. So again, Bitcoin's settlement volume is exceeding the payments volume of Visa. So as a payments network, even if you can't make payments, you're making the Bitcoin for coffee argument where people are saying you can't use Bitcoin for coffee. That's how they got Bitcoin SV. That's how you got Bitcoin Cash, because they wanted to increase the block size so that you could have more transactions. When you increase the block size, you decrease the security, which is the most important part of money. Now, is Bitcoin done? No, it's 14 years old. We had over 100 years of the current system we have for it to progress and to watch it fail. Bitcoin is 14 years old. It's the age of a teenager. Everybody can't use it. You're correct. But if I had to give a solution to that girl, you do realize you can make Bitcoin transactions via satellite with NFC technology, with GoTennas. So there is a possibility for those transactions to occur. And if she can't do it right now, cool. But Bitcoin has stages. It's a collectible. It's a store of value. It's a medium of exchange. Then it's a unit of account. The medium of exchange era could be 10 years from now. But Lightning Network is here. Liquid is here. Stacks is here. We have plenty of ways for you to buy it. So just because everybody can't use it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There's terrible internet.
It clearly exists. In Miami. We're trying to set up a broadband. Very few people use it. Hold on. Problems. The transaction thing, you're not talking about double transaction. So that transaction figure is cut in half. And who the hell is Benzinga? I don't know. They come up with these charts. I have no idea what they're relying on.
What's a double transaction? What's a double
Bitcoin,
transaction?
The buying and the selling of Bitcoin. Every transaction is logged as 2 transactions. But let's get back to the Somalian woman, because she has a solution. She has a very good solution that is 2, 5, 10 times bigger than Bitcoin ever will be. And it's the solution that the entire third world and developing world uses. And it's called Hawala banking. and it is more efficient, and it is cheaper than Bitcoin. Do you know what Hawala
Wait,
banking
wait. To be fair, the United States, let's make sure we're clear about this, especially you write about money laundering, corruption, scams. The United States are not fans of Hawala. So
I don't care if they're fans, but they're licensed in the United States. Hawala bankers are licensed in the United States.
The United States government are not fans of Hawala.
I don't care.
Unless the CIA is doing it. Unless the CIA is doing it, right?
A lot of people like me aren't fans of Bitcoin. But the point is,
but Hawala works. Exactly.
Hawala works really well.
Hawala works, but people aren't fans of it. Exactly.
Hawala works. It doesn't matter if they're fans of it. It's legal. It's licensed in the United States. They're money transmitters. They're licensed by the state and the federal government. And it works 5 times or 10 times or 20 times more and bigger and faster and cheaper than Bitcoin. So why would anybody in the third world worry about Bitcoin that doesn't work for them when they've got the Hawala system, which works beautifully?
What if they want to leave?
Why don't you ask the Venezuelans that are risking their life to get Bitcoin right now? Because
I don't know that that's true either. I don't know that any of these stories are true, because they're put out by the Bitcoin media, which is a PR hype operation. You say this. Look at El Salvador. Economists are saying that El Salvador, because of Bukele and this Bitcoin crap, are now officially bankrupt. The IMF.
The same economists that also kept telling us that Bitcoin was dead thousands of times.
I don't know that that's true either. I don't know that they've said it.
Well, which economist said it?
They're looking at El Salvador, and they're
which economist said it?
Name the economist.
You can't deny the evidence. They're looking at
name the person who said it. You said
Nouriel Roubini. Nouriel Roubini.
The idiot Rubini.
Oh no, you can't.
Bitcoin was dead a million times.
Just because you disagree with him, he's far from an idiot.
Rubini's track record with Bitcoin has been so awful. At this point,
that's because you disagree with it. He's actually been spot on.
No, I don't disagree. Right. He kept saying it's dead. It kept not coming back to life.
And the point is,
Bitcoin Jesus
Christ. The point is, El Salvador is bankrupt. The point is, El Salvador is bankrupt. The credit agencies have lowered their credit. The IMF can't save their ass. And Bukele was in the Washington Post yesterday morning saying, I trade Bitcoin naked in my living room on my phone using the government's reserve money. This is crazy. That means 9 for you, 1 for me, 10 for you, 1 for me. His entire cabinet, or most of it anyway, are sanctioned by the United States. They can't come here because they'd be arrested. He's planning this Bitcoin city, which is a complete and total scam, where he's going to float a Bitcoin bond. Now, listen, if you want to get into Bitcoin, that's fine. Buy Bitcoin. But why would you buy Bukele's debt? That doesn't make any financial sense whatsoever.
Okay, hold on. We're going to continue with Bukele really quick. I want to give some shout outs to the comment section. They're going crazy. First of all, Chemo and Crypto, thank you for the tip. He said, go read Isaiah's Bitcoin in Black America. Also, thank you for the tip. Eastside Tony said, I just sent $20 to my friend. I sent $20 to my friend in Tanzania from California via the Lightning Network. Jeff's argument is because you don't have phone, that phones don't work. So I guess they're trying to hear the phone argument. And last question someone asked Jeff, they said, have you read the white paper before?
Yes, of course I have.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. Oftentimes, a lot of people who are Bitcoin, who don't like Bitcoin have not.
Yeah, of course I have. Now, one of the things, I mean, he was not talking about a currency. He was talking about a transfer system. And because the transfer system hasn't worked, it's been converted into a currency for speculation. The story I wanted to tell, which I didn't tell on Dr. Phil, and I should have, after talking to JP, before you guys came out, I wanted to say to Dr. Phil, do you know the story of the tuna fish? I don't know if you know the story of the
I don't know the story of the tuna fish, but I'm excited to hear it.
World War II, an army patrol is out on doing whatever it is they do in the Ardennes. And the mail gets delivered, and one of these privates gets a package from his mother, and inside is a can of tuna fish. Now, I know when you were deployed in the Navy, you probably at some point got sea rations.
Yeah, and right.
They're pretty terrible. That's awful. The Air Force on Friday in the Officers Club, we had lobster.
Yeah, we call it mid-rats. Middle of the night, you get in there, 12 a.m. Yeah, I know it's terrible. Stuff. But it's not terrible. They do a good job. They got to feed a lot of people, so I'm not going to say
That's right. But the one thing you and I had that the Army didn't have was a lack of mud. We had no mud. The Army has a lot of mud, right? So this guy gets this can of tuna fish, and he says, oh my God, after what we've been eating, I finally have a can of tuna fish. And another soldier comes up to him and says, that can of tuna fish probably cost your mother 25 cents in the store. I'll give you $2 for it. And he said, no, it's tuna fish from my mother. He said, no. All right, I'll give you $3. Well, he finally says $5, and the guy says, okay. And he sells him the can of tuna fish for $5. Another soldier comes up and says, you just paid 5, I'll give you 7. So he sells it for 7. Then another one says, I'll give you 9. And then it's 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, $23. The guy's got paid $23 for this can of tuna fish, takes his bayonet, slashes it open, opens the can and starts eating it. And the other soldiers say to him, the hell are you doing? He says, I'm eating the tuna fish. They said, no, that's not for eating. It's for buying and selling. That's Bitcoin.
Zay, what do you have to say to that?
Let's see. All right. Let me pull this up really quick. All right. This is my receipt for Travala, Novotel, Miami. The hotel I'm sitting in right now. I paid for that with Bitcoin. It works.
Yeah. Priced in dollars. So what you did was,
but I paid for it.
They price it on Bitcoin on the site. To be fair, they do pricing in Bitcoin on the site.
They price it in Bitcoin. First
of all, the
bill
just said dollars. I just saw dollars.
No, listen to me. Stop talking.
Show me the bill again. Show me the bill again.
Listen to me.
Show me the bill again.
Hold on, one at a time, Jeffrey.
First of all, stop talking while I'm talking.
Get dollars on.
That bill is a receipt for them because they account in dollars. Bitcoin on the blockchain. Do I need to copy and paste the transaction ID for you to see it on the Bitcoin blockchain? It works. Jeffrey, stop denying this. I'm sitting in a hotel. I paid for a Bitcoin. It came out of my Bitcoin wallet. I can show you it right now if you would stop yapping your gums. But you keep trying to explain to us these old diatribes and stories and sucking off the IMF. It makes no sense. How you keep telling us these stories, you still haven't told us that Bitcoin doesn't work. I'm sitting in a hotel. I paid for a Bitcoin. And you're still trying to tell us that
no,
whatever.
I'm not trying to tell you it doesn't work. I'm trying to tell you the whole thing is a scam.
23 is Bitcoin. That's the whole thing is a scam, apparently. Yes, but I'm sitting in a hotel where I pay for
because it's about buying and selling.
Okay, so if you believe it's a scam,
did that hotel put Bitcoin on their books? Did that hotel put Bitcoin on their books?
If Bitcoin is a scam, if Bitcoin is a scam,
did the hotel put Bitcoin on their books?
Then what is the Federal Reserve?
Oh, don't start with that because then you don't understand the Federal Reserve.
Because Bitcoin can be done with what you want. They could have either kept it, or you could sell it for cash, or you can do it partially.
But they don't keep it.
That's what actual freedom is.
No, they didn't keep it. There's a reason why they don't keep it.
That's what I'm telling you. Some businesses do. It's your choice. It doesn't get adopted overnight.
That's the point. They don't keep it. They sell it right away.
20 publicly traded Bitcoin companies. You keep saying I'm showing you my facts.
Name one.
I'm showing you facts. Galaxy Digital,
one publicly traded,
MicroStrategy,
and they keep Bitcoin on their books.
Square, Galaxy Digital. Yeah, I'm gonna show you the publicly traded groups right now, Jeffrey, because apparently you are not very good with research.
Okay. Now
here's the
deal. All right, hold on a second.
I'm gonna show you right now. No, I'm not talking.
What was the don't talk. What was the first publicly traded company to accept Bitcoin? Do you know?
The first publicly traded company? No.
Overstock.
That might be possible. Overstock.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Patrick Byrne went on CNBC.
Then he did Ravencoin right after. He did Ravencoin after that. Yep.
Yeah. Patrick went on CNBC, and he said, "I'm going to accept Bitcoin." And the Bitcoin. I don't want to call it a cult because I don't think that's fair, but the Bitcoin universe said, "Fantastic." I don't know that any of these companies put Bitcoin on their books. That's maybe not true, and I'll tell you why. That's for the same reason.
No, it's right here on the screen. It's on the screen.
When Patrick Byrne,
Jeffrey, it's on the screen. Look at the screen, Jeffrey.
And the source of it is CoinGecko.com. Put something up that says Wall Street Journal.
So one question I have to ask you, Jeffrey.
Bro, you keep telling me my facts are coming from a bad place. You're not telling me any facts though.
Well, Jeffrey, you mentioned the ratings, like the credit rating agency.
Can I just finish the Patrick Byrne story?
Okay, go ahead. Let us know the Patrick Byrne story. Go ahead.
He said, we're accepting Bitcoin. Well, I called him because that's what a real journalist does. And I got him on the phone. I was on the phone with him for over an hour. And I said, are you putting on your books? He said, no, I can't. I said, why not? He said, the tax thing is much too complicated. And being a publicly traded company, it is much too complicated for my accounting. Now, the first day.
And this was back in 2013, 2014.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, but that's right. He said the first day that we said we were accepting Bitcoin. We had a little button on the site, and you pushed it. It took you to Coinbase, where you exchanged it, and they paid over stock in dollars. The first day, he got $120,000 or $130,000 worth of offers, because people said, "Wow, if he's accepting Bitcoin, I'm going to support him, and I'll buy pillowcases and garden furniture or whatever it is he sells." The second day, the sales were down to about half. By the end of the week, he was under $10,000 in Bitcoin sales, all going through Coinbase. So I said, when do you, and his profit margin is 5%. So his $10,000 in Bitcoin sales was netting him about $500 profit. I said, when do you put it on your books? He says, well, actually, I've got a committee now on the company to put it on the books, and we have to rearrange our accounting. It will cost me over $1 million to redo our accounting, and it will be 10 years before the Bitcoin figures amortize and pay for the accounting. 10 years. So he still hasn't come into profit with his Bitcoin accounting. I mean, this is crazy. All you do, hold on. All you do when you put Bitcoin in the middle of a dollar-to-dollar transaction is add your cost and decrease the speed of the transaction. That's all it does.
All right. So if I wanted to pay somebody in another country for goods, handing them $1 would take hours to fly there and hand them the dollar. So digital cash.
You don't have to fly there.
Digital cash, again, if I wanted to hand somebody, you said handing somebody $1 is the best way. If you're doing a dollar-to-dollar transaction, the best way is
not handing them, but paying dollar to dollar. Why put
paying
Bitcoin
dollar to
in
dollar?
No
if it's digital, yes. Well, the best way is the dollar. Cool. All right. We've said that before for payments. Bitcoin. Let me run through it again. Collectible, store value, medium of exchange, unit of account. Yes, it could take 10 years because it is a process. We're in the store of value era where Bitcoin is proving that it is a store of value.
Nobody can take it from you. Value. It's a completely useless store of value.
I understand. I understand how you feel, but I'm telling you facts.
Well, I have a question. Well, Jeffrey, let me ask you a question, because you mentioned
okay.
Throughout the conversation, you mentioned like the ratings agency. We actually just covered Fitch the other day. So when you talk about IMF, credit rating agencies, regulated things, when you mention all of these terms, I guess our question is, these have been the mechanisms that have been around, and they haven't been fair. Like realistically, they have not been.
Now we're into an agreement. Now we're into a big area of agreement.
Why do you lean so heavily on them as far as the cosign? Like, why do we need an IMF to cosign El Salvador? Why do we need
no one else is going to bail them out? Because no one else is going to bail them out of bankruptcy. But hold on a minute. When you talk about unfairness, here you've got a big fan, because I think both of you guys are a cut above the usual Bitcoin grifters and con men. I think you guys are onto something really big.
We're the master con men, huh?
No, I think the two of you are onto something really big. And I love that interview with that guy from Malawi, because what Isaiah was saying to him was, we're trying to solve the inequality. And let's talk about the inequals. I don't know that that's a word, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about the 44% of the black population who are getting in it's backwards. Of the people getting into Bitcoin, 44% are non-white, 41% are women. Let's talk about those people, because I believe that you two have a platform to make a real difference in their lives. And I mean this sincerely. I am 100,000% behind you with this. If you look at America, I think the figure is somewhere above 70 million people are unbanked or underbanked. This is in the richest country in the world.
That's crazy.
Crazy. This is insane. We've got to do something about that system, because that system doesn't affect old white guys. That system affects the people who live north of where I live, in the heart of Harlem. And that affects families who don't have $400 worth of savings.
In the effort time, what's the solution, Jeffrey? What's the solution?
Wait a minute. I'm going to get to that. Because I think it's in your hands. I think you have a chance to do something about it. So these people their kids can't get the proper education. They can't get proper health care. They are not represented properly politically. They can't get the proper credit. I think a huge mistake that we make in American education is not teaching personal finance. It's not taught in high schools. Every high school and every junior high should have a required course on personal finance to teach kids what is money, what is currency, what is credit, why Einstein said the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest, how you use credit for good, why debt is sometimes good and sometimes bad, how you acquire debt, and why it's crazy, for instance, when you can buy Keds for $28 to pay $270 and put it on your credit card for a pair of Air Jordans for which you're paying 18%. I mean, we have to teach kids that there are these problems they can solve if they knew what they were doing. So the first thing is education. By the way, we also don't teach civics, which I find to be a horrendous mistake.
Right, it's okay. Let's just stay on the financial real quick because we got some callers in a moment for you.
All right, but so we need to build equality into the system. We need to find more black-owned banks. There aren't enough. There aren't enough women and black women in banking.
The solution is to go back to banking.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Banking is not an evil thing. Banking is not an evil thing. It's simply
that's true, but it's been carried out as like systemically unfair for a lot of people for a very long time.
We can change that. Of course it is. We can change that.
We did. We changed it with Bitcoin.
Changed it already.
You change it with because Bitcoin's not touching the whole population. Most of the people are saying, I don't know, I don't understand it. You can't explain it to an 8-year-old. I'm not getting involved in it. The fact is, most people operate inside the financial
I did a Bitcoin
system.
summer camp. I was gonna say I did a
Bitcoin good. Well, then, you know what? I'll tell you something. Then start a Bitcoin summer camp. I think that's a great idea.
I already did it. I already started it. And yesterday I went to five high schools and gave 55 kids $1,000 in Bitcoin and taught them about 5 different platforms. And
okay, wait a minute.
You just gotta wait. Like I said, I'm sorry, it's the internet in 95. It's not, you don't have the iPhone in 95, but you can't say the internet doesn't work. Like Paul Krugman. Paul Krugman said the internet is not going to be relevant in 95. Here we are 30 years later, it's more relevant.
Okay, he was wrong. So we've all made mistakes.
And
we've
I
all
would
said
say
things.
that you're wrong. Because it's not there yet, you're saying it doesn't work. Oh, it works.
No, it's not going to be there because it's had plenty of chance to be.
As we've been talking, 3 blocks have been mined. So Bitcoin is working.
Who cares?
Everybody who made a transaction that got through and validated, they care. You mean
it's an environmental disaster.
Oh no, he didn't do it.
Yes,
the 13.
Yes, it's an environmental disaster.
All right, okay.
I don't think anybody
it's an environmental
cares.
disaster now.
Okay, hold on. Let me put a pause on everything really quick. Just give Jeffrey.
Hold on. Let's talk about what
we have a couple of quick callers for you as well, Jeffrey.
Okay, go ahead. Right. And then I really want to get into the 3 things that I'd like you to promise me. And I think
I'll give you the heads up on it. I think we got Reggie. Reggie, if you can call in, we definitely have Reggie Middleton call in. He has been in the traditional markets as well as the cryptocurrency markets. He has his thoughts. So if he calls in, that's pretty cool. But really quick for some of the comments, Jake Fever, thank you for the tip. Buy Bitcoin, be your own bank. There's plenty of black-owned banks. Okay, they're saying if you buy your own Bitcoin,
not enough.
Okay, Birdtown Music Group said, tell us more about how people of color should actually protest then, because that's part of the protest when it comes to the banking structure, I guess. Kango 26 said Hawala is the solution. Someone else said that Hawala coin about to drop. So I guess you just started a new cryptocurrency on the show.
Hawala coin, really?
Hawala coin, that would be hilarious. Let's see, what else do we have? So it looks like folks are saying that they think that some of your comments are essentially, it can't help the mainstream and people who are already basically winning. Now let me tell you something. Okay. Look at Wall Street and look at the people who are winning on Wall Street and look what they do. Many people, not all of them, but many people winning on Wall Street are old white guys. And they look at... That was actually the real comment. Somebody said basically it's not helping white people, so he don't agree with it. That was actually
believe me, it's not where my heart lies.
Right, I know it's not. That's why I didn't finish the comment. I know you're not.
That's all right. But the fact is, there are a lot of old white guys who say, how are we going to make money? Well, you know what? There is a population of inequals. And we're going to call this group inequals. And they are many people who are at the poverty line or have no savings. Unfortunately, there's a huge part of them who are black and brown. They come from ethnic communities. Whatever the problem is, that they can't get equality. Wall Street, these old white men are saying, let's invent this housing bubble because they've got some money. And I know your parents were caught in it. And I really feel terrible for them because I, as a parent, can understand the pain and suffering and the insecurity and the stress that they went through because of that housing bubble. But that was caused by these old white men sitting around in Wall Street trying to come up with ways to make money. They're doing the same thing in some cases, you look at some of the big corporate guys who are shilling Bitcoin for the same reason. They're self-interested. That's why they're selling snake oil. And I say, I was on CNBC and I said, shame on you guys at CNBC for not cornering these people and letting them get away with what they're doing. I mean, I went to the New York State Banking Commission hearings on Bitcoin, and the Winklevi twins, Bert and Ernie, I call them, they testified. And let me tell you something. When you
come on, no, hold on, no.
No. When you shake hands,
play them like that. Come on.
No, when you shake hands with Bert and Ernie, you count your fingers afterwards.
Wait, are you talking about the Winklevoss twins?
That's exactly who I'm talking about.
Come on, no. We're not. Listen,
you
no slander. They've been doing a great job.
You do not want to take financial advice from those two guys, or Kim Kardashian, for that matter.
Well, that's fair. That one's a fair one. The Winklevoss twins, no slander. They've been doing a good job in the community.
No, they haven't. They've been lining their own pockets with hype and bullshit. I'm telling you, these guys.
Okay, Jeffrey.
All right, so Jeffrey, let me just make a quick point right here because you're talking about Black people at this point. Let me just say that as far as our community, yes, I do think we can move away from the banking system. Most of Wall Street was created to trade people. Most of the banks owned slaves back in the day, or supported people who did. Yeah, I don't really rock with the bank. So for our community, we don't owe banks anything. So opposed to banks, what's the other solution? Better banking? No,
better banking.
It's an opposite or completely different monetary system.
Listen, the
better banking is the solution, because if that was a solution, we would have to own the Federal Reserve where the money is printed. We still can't control.
No, the Federal Reserve thing is a canard. The Federal Reserve thing is nonsense. I mean, the argument.
Can't control it. Okay, well, we can't control. Okay, all right. Well, even with loans, black people, you can still have bad credit and not get credit loans based on whatever various factors.
I agree with you. I'm rooting for the unequals, and I'm rooting for you guys and people like you to do something about it. Let me just say that the Federal Reserve argument is silly, because what they say is if you took
Black community isn't unequal. It's not automatically.
No, it's not. But I'm saying there are inequals in America. 70 million people are unbanked and underbanked.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are things you can do about it. I know that Walmart had a program with one of the credit card companies where they created a cash card that could be used at Walmart to help these people stay away from payday loans. I think payday loans should be illegal. I think there's a crime called usury. And when you're charging somebody, like the mafia, point a week, that's illegal. I mean, the fact that they can charge 22, 24, 30% for a loan, there are usury laws. They need to be enforced. That should be absolutely forbidden. And the payday loan system is horrendous, because it doesn't hurt you and me because you've got money. It doesn't hurt us. It hurts the people who don't have money.
It really hurts them. Really quick as well, Jeffrey. We do have a quick caller for you. Welcome to the stage, Reggie Middleton. I wish I had a written bio for you, Reggie, but Reggie is a project founder of Veritasium in the space. He's been in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Zay would probably know longer, at least 12, 13, 14 years, right, since the inception almost. He came from Wall Street, where he was a traditional, financier on the Wall Street market. I'm sure he can tell you more. But again, he's a well-esteemed individual. So Reggie, welcome back to the show.
There he is, right there. Hi, Reggie.
Equinox too. Shout out to Equinox, even though they be tripping sometimes.
Not advertising. I just put a shirt on. So.
Exactly. How you doing today, Reggie? What you got for us?
What up, Reggie?
How you doing? How's everybody? I just tuned in, dialed in, and I think the tail end of Mr. Robinson, and I just wanted to jump in. But I think I need this to be a little more interactive. So he was basically saying Bitcoin is a scam. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Quickly, 3 bullet points. Why?
With three bullet points of why it's a scam?
Because I didn't get to hear everything. So
it doesn't do anything. It's not a store of value. It's not a unit of exchange. It's not a means of payment that's actually valid. There is no circular flow of income. Hold on. There's no circular flow of income. You pay with Bitcoin and no one keeps the Bitcoin. They sell it. It doesn't do anything.
It's a little slower for me, because that's too much. Okay. The first one, you're saying it doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Okay. It does solve the Byzantine generals problem. So it does do something. It's a very good idea. And before we go on, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm actually opposed to Zay and King in terms of Bitcoin everything. I consider myself a realist, but saying it doesn't do anything.
No, I'm not maximalist. Bitcoin just works. Hey, Bitcoin just works.
Who said we was maximalists, Reggie? I'm not Bitcoin everything.
Do anything. It's just
everybody.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey, I'm a freedom maximalist. I just
what you got for us, Reggie? What you got, Reggie?
Go ahead. You got it.
The point was, it's not a store of value. Okay, so oil is not a store of value. Does that mean oil is a scam?
No. Oil is a store of value because it's an asset with a floor and a ceiling. You'll understand that. It can be used.
Now, what's the floor and ceiling of oil?
The floor and ceiling of oil is when the price rises in oil, you bring it back down by producing more. When the price lowers, you bring it back up by.
Okay. So freeze right there. You're
So
talking
like gold. It's a hedge. These things have floors and ceilings. Bitcoin doesn't.
Go to bite. You're talking price. Okay. If the value of oil went up, producing more will not necessarily bring the price down. Okay?
No, but the OPEC countries then control the production.
Well, I want this to be more of an exchange. Okay.
Okay, but let me just say, you're talking to the guy who wrote the biography of the man who invented OPEC, Sheikh Yamani. So oil is something I know a lot about.
So you're talking to the man who invented DeFi, which is the hottest part of crypto right now. So we all have talking points, okay?
Okay.
We're discussing Bitcoin in terms of price, most likely, which is why you said it doesn't do anything. Bitcoin, in solving the Byzantines' general problem, has solved a problem that couldn't have been solved. Hence, okay.
It does, but no one cares. No one cares.
Okay, so next point. If no one cares, then why is every major house in Wall Street adopting Bitcoin-based technologies? That's a big no one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you why. They're all adopting altcoins. They're looking at alt chains because they don't need proof of work. They don't want to get into. They don't want to. Hold on. Wait, let me talk
about. He actually Jeffrey got Bitcoin, y'all. Look, you know what's up.
They do not want to rely on Bitcoin, which is totally irrational in price movement, and it's too volatile.
So you can say the same amount just in smaller chunks. Okay, they're adopting distributed ledger technologies. Okay, based on the consensus method.
But not the Bitcoin-driven blockchain.
That's what Bitcoin popularized. Okay, you said Bitcoin does nothing. Now you're backtracking.
No, it still does nothing.
Excuse me?
It still does nothing.
Well, if it does nothing,
it's unnecessary. It's a solution in search of a problem, and it hasn't solved any problems. The alt chains are interesting because if I'm Bank of America and you're Citibank and we want to trade, we want to put our Forex trading on a blockchain, we don't need a coin to do proof of work because inherently we trust each other. So all we're doing with the blockchain is creating a kind of ledger that is called a blockchain but isn't really. It's just another kind of ledger. That's all.
So, okay, that's as you see it. Okay.
I think that's what's really happening.
No, I'm a banking expert and I'm the guy that created DeFi. Okay. So banks do not inherently trust each other. If they did, okay, then roughly about how big in terms of pages is the agreement?
Is what?
Is the agreement?
I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
ISDA. How many pages do you think it is, roughly?
I have no idea.
If you know what it is?
No.
It's an International Swap Dealers Association agreement.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Basically, the plain vanilla template on how to do a swap. The vast majority of that is dealing with what?
Tell me.
Counterparty risk. So if you're concerned about counterparty risk, then you don't trust somebody. As a matter of fact, that's what the entire swap industry is about. Exchanging value based upon a lack of trust. So your statement is wrong. Factually, it's wrong. Plain out.
I would claim that Citibank and Barclays Bank trust each other.
Wait, there's not a big discussion to be had in that because that could be factually disproved. Okay?
Well, if they've got an agreement and they abide by the agreement, then they trust each other.
Oh,
then
really?
They don't need.
2009.
Are you talking about Libor?
No, I'm talking about Lehman. I'm talking about Bear Stearns. Also, let me just remind you, you're talking to the guy, right, who calculated and predicted the collapse of Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, Washington Mutual, Countrywide, etc. I know it intimately well. So they had an agreement with each other. They did business with each other, okay, and they still collapsed. And once the collapse came, the lack of trust spread. Banking as a business is based upon trust or lack thereof. Okay, so again, factually, you're wrong.
But Bitcoin doesn't solve that problem.
Well, listen, I'll tell you all what we're probably not going to agree with on this, but I did tell Jeffrey I'm going to give him the last few minutes. So Jeffrey, you got 5 minutes.
I appreciate it. Listen, and Reggie, it's not Mr. Robinson, it's Jeffrey. Mr. Robinson was my father.
Okay, I run that too. Okay,
yeah.
Jeff.
Okay. No, and I appreciate you coming on.
Reggie.
Let me just say, I would like you guys, all three of you, to make me a little promise. And although I probably have no right to ask it, I'm going to ask it anyway. You have a platform where you can do an enormous amount of good. There is a huge amount, and Reggie will agree with me, I know, a huge amount of fraud in the financial system. I'm not talking about Bitcoin, my definition of Bitcoin. I'm talking about that email from the first secretary of the Nigerian oil ministry, that kind of fraud. And it is now leaking into the Bitcoin thing. I saw recently there was an email going around that will say, "Dear Mr. Jackson, I am the county clerk. You have been warned 3 times to appear for jury duty. You haven't shown up. In 5 days, we're going to issue a warrant for your arrest." You get this email and you say, "What the hell are you talking about? No one told me how to go to jury duty." And it goes on and on and on, explaining why you legally have to do this. And it says, please call this number immediately, because if you've been out of town or sick or otherwise didn't get the email, we'll make an excuse for you. But otherwise, we're going to issue a warrant for your arrest. So you panic and you call this 800 number, which of course is not the county clerk. And if you look at the email properly, you'll see it's not the county clerk. And you call and this person says, that's right, let me have your name and address. That's right, yeah, you're listed and we're going to issue a warrant. However, we will not issue the warrant if you will pay the $200 fine. Oh, and by the way, because we're trying to reduce costs, there is a 25% discount if you use Bitcoin. So send us $150 worth of Bitcoin and we'll forget the warrant. These kinds of frauds using Bitcoin are the same as the frauds using dollars. And what I'm saying is you guys have a platform where you could spend 20 minutes a week discussing these frauds, and there are the fraud detectives at the Los Angeles Police Department, there's the Secret Service who would cooperate, they would get the word out on how to protect your audience from these kinds of frauds. And it would be terrific if you did that, because your audience is subjected to this. You know, 1 in 9, over the next 12 months, every man and woman in the country will be targeted by professional fraudsters multiple times, and 1 in 9 people will lose money as a result of fraud. So you've got a great platform now that the con men and the fraudsters, the professional fraudsters, are using the word Bitcoin to save your audience a lot of grief and save some money. And I hope that you would do that. It would be a great contribution to the audience. The second thing is something that I said. Yes, you want to go ahead? Sure.
Oh,
I think it's Reggie.
Okay, so 2 things. Okay, one, to address what he just said. Okay, and I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I have a lot of issues with Bitcoin myself, but I have even more issues with a lack of actual fact and clarity. So, still, considerably more fraud goes through.
Yes, I agree with you. But this is not about Bitcoin. This is about fraud.
Hear me out. Traditionally, more goes to the traditional finance system than Bitcoin. Yet, mentions of fraud attached to Bitcoin significantly more than a traditional financial system. What you just said describes subprime lending.
Yes.
It describes real estate sales, redlining. It describes the banking system. Did you know that we currently have negative interest rates and they're lying about it?
No, hold on. You missed my point. Reggie, you missed the point completely. I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about fraud.
Get the point across, but we both have to do it. Okay.
Okay, but I'm talking about fraud on the individual. Okay. And you've got a platform where you can spend 15 minutes a week with some expert on fraud to say, here's this latest fraud, the jury duty fraud. If you get that email, throw it away. Do not answer it. That's all I'm saying.
Jeff, but that's
okay. We only have a few minutes. I don't mean to cut you off, Reggie, but I'm going to let Jeff finish it up. We only got a couple of minutes. So what's your
something I said to you, and I beg you to pay attention to it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is a personal finance thing. You've got to protect yourself. If on the wild, remote possibility that I'm right, this is a bubble and it crashes, you need to have some financial security. You know, kids come along, college, by the time your kids get to college, is going to cost $12 million a semester or something ridiculous. Please, I beg you, take some of the Bitcoin money, put it into assets that will grow, compound interest, that will beat the S&P, that will hold itself against inflation, and just, it's just smart business to diversify. That's the second
Cool.
thing.
So guys, again, diversify, not all Bitcoin. You heard it from Jeffrey first. Also get into altcoins and other parts of the market.
Or the real market. Or the real market. Okay, you know, I wrote a book called Minus Millionaires. The entrepreneurial spirit is littered with dead bodies of people who didn't diversify and who
That's
went
true. That part's true. I would agree with that. Yeah.
NFL. What percentage of NFL players who get these multi-trillion-dollar contracts are bankrupt by the age of 30? It's like huge. Yeah, it's really big. No, not true. Not true. It's like 20%. Okay.
Hey, Jeffrey, before you go, man, I appreciate you. I just wanted to ask. You said
I appreciate you too, and I think your book is great. And I just want to say that I really think you guys have a chance to make a real difference.
Hey, Jeffrey, I know. I just wanted to respond to you really quick. Don't put all your eggs in one basket either. Don't put all your eggs in the dollar basket, because that's what most people are doing. So don't put all your eggs in that basket either. So put some of your eggs.
We also
in
have an
Bitcoin
income in pounds, so that's all right.
Don't put it in pounds. Yeah, as I said, don't put it all in fiat.
And we're in companies that produce things and pay dividends.
All right, Jeffrey had one more
thing.
I'm earning
one more thing. Listen, you guys are on a social mission, which I really, really, really appreciate. I'm going to ask one favor. There was a quote by Robert Kennedy that made a lot of sense to me when I read it. And he said, some people go to sleep at night and dream of things that are and ask why. And I go to sleep at night and dream of things that aren't and ask why not. You guys have a real chance because, Isaiah, you understand the technology better than maybe everybody. I don't, but you understand the technology. You have a way of looking and maybe creating something. Maybe it's a coin, maybe it's some other system, but using your extreme intelligence with Reggie, you put him on your board of directors and pay him in dollars. He'll appreciate that. And what you do, you have a chance to change the world. And all I'm saying to you is the tool might not be Bitcoin. It may be something else. And if it isn't, create it yourselves and change the world. And I'm rooting for you. And when you do it, I will wave the flag and sing your praises from the highest buildings.
There we go. Hey, as always, thanks for joining as well. Zay, what do you have to say? Hey, thanks for this was a great conversation. Wish we could have Reggie on a little longer as well. Thanks for joining as well, Reggie. But really quick, Zay, what did you have?
Nah, nothing for me. I was just going to say appreciate you, Jeffrey, coming on. And yeah, don't put all your eggs in the fiat basket.
And Reggie, I know
a little bit in Bitcoin just in case it does take off.
Before Reggie got here, Reggie, what can you leave us with as well? We'll let Jeffrey get the last comment, but we'll give Reggie a moment as well.
Okay, so the have-nots are not Black, they're have-nots. So this is one thing that irks me. In America, in the United States, for some reason, people attribute Black to poverty or Black to lesser, and that's not true. The majority of the poverty of the poor in the U.S. are not Black.
No, I agree.
So,
I agree.
But listening to you, and you seem like a genuine guy. I don't know if you seem like a genuine guy. Okay, the problem is not personal finance or lack of personal finance in the Black population. The problem is the understanding of finance and capital to begin with. We don't need more Black banks. We need more access to capital for Blacks. You can have one Black bank, right? JP Morgan has more of an asset base than what, 300 or 400 banks combined, 200 or 300. So it's not the number of banks you have, it's access to capital. That's why the motherland, Africa, the wealthiest natural resource in the world is the poorest. Okay, they need access to the global market to turn their natural capital into financial capital. That's what we all need. Don't count banks, count access to capital, right? Don't say Blacks are the I'm paraphrasing, so don't take it personally. The great unwashed, okay? It's the haves and the have.
Oh, you just muted yourself by mistake, Reggie. It's the haves and there we go. Reggie, you muted yourself at the last sentence. You said it's the haves and.
It's not about the haves. Blacks are not the have-nots, right? And it's not about haves versus have-nots, but it is, but the have-nots will be haves in part if they had access to capital.
I agree. I agree 100%. I agree. And I think it's a terrible system in this country that it's so difficult to create that. And that's why I'm saying that you guys have a chance to do it. It may not be Bitcoin. Whatever it is, find it, dream, ask yourself, why not, and change it.
Are you before you have access to an audience?
Say what?
You have access to an audience yourself?
Do I have access to an audience? No. No, I'm a guy, I write for a living. I live in my pajamas. I mean, I got dressed for you guys today, but I don't.
Hey, love it. There we go.
Put your money where your mouth is. Do an expose on me, okay? Because I'm Black and my story's worth a fortune. So if you really mean what you say, show it, okay? We can connect after the show.
There we go.
Listen, I would love to, and I'll tell you the same thing I say to many people who say, you want to write my story. I'm 5 books and several television shows ahead of myself. I'm way booked up for the next 5 years. But you know what? It's not a difficult thing. Get onto your computer and sit down at night and start typing. Tell your own story. And let me know when it's published, and I'll be the first one to buy it. I promise.
All right. Other than that, Jeffrey, we'll give you the last quick sentence on the way out. What do you have for us?
I wish you all well, because I know that you mean really well. And I'm on your side, believe me. And as I say, it may not be Bitcoin. Whatever it is, dream about it. Ask yourself why not, and find it, create it, and you will change the world. And I hope you will.
There it is. Okay, last couple of comments. Essentially, that's what everyone's saying in the comment section. They're like, hey, he doesn't agree with us. We don't agree with him, but give him props for coming on the show. And we will. Thanks, Jeffrey, for coming on the show. You stood toe-to-toe with some greats right here with Reggie and the Bitcoin Zay. We truly appreciate it. You got one more thing?
I do too. Be sure to tell your audience I came on the show for free.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this wasn't no payola, folks. Jeffrey.
Normally I charge dollars, but
yeah, he raised his hand and put his own Bitcoin book at risk. But again, thanks for joining the show. Again, as always, Reggie, thanks for joining. I'm hitting you up this weekend, Reggie, to try to get you on ASAP. And of course, Bitcoin Zay, as always, you know what we do. So make sure you all smash that like and share if you like this. If you haven't already, check out the masterclass if you do want to learn about some Bitcoin or some other facets of cryptocurrency and blockchain tech. And last but not least, we will see you all next week with some more Bitcoin and crypto news. As always, thanks for watching. Smash that like and share, and cheers until next week.